if you truly genuinely believe that you can solve a problem for someone, you're doing a disservice to them if you don't follow up with them and help them. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bello with chrisbello.com. Today, we're going to be talking about how do we get what we want? And the obvious answer is we have to ask. So that is the title of this episode. Make sure to always ask and you shall receive, as the saying goes. And the thing is that many of us actually really hate being salesy. I don't know, it's like maybe this new generational thing. I definitely feel this way. And personally, I like to sell to others exactly how I want to be sold to. And I want people to reach out to me when they are ready to move forward. And ultimately, it's up to you. You are able to determine how exactly you want to approach this. You can be pushy if you want. You can follow up extremely hardcore. But when people are pushy with me, personally, I like to bounce. I kind of stop answering their calls, texts, emails, and just tell them, hey, you came on too strong. I'm not ready. I'm not trying to make a decision right now. And so maybe you can relate with this feeling. And I think that people have their guard up more than ever because there's so much information. There's so many ads, calls to action, people calling us and emailing us and texting us nonstop. It's just too much sometimes. And in order to help people lower their guard, you have to add value and show that you can be trusted, kind of like that results in advance thing that I talked about recently. And this really helps a ton because if people can get some results with some free information you provide, or with like an initial free call, for example, their guard gets lowered because they see that, yes, you actually are who you say you are and you can help with what you say you can help with. They'll also realize that you're a resource for them and they'll likely open up more. And then whenever you do add value, you can make the ask. I know Gary Vee has a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And the whole idea of that is that each jab is adding value, value, value. And then the right hook is like an ask, and you kind of earn the right to make an ask at that point. And again, I personally don't like hard sales or pushy salespeople. I'm sure you can relate to this as well. But sometimes I do want help. It's funny because we default to just saying we don't need help when people ask if they can help us. And if you go to an Apple store or Best Buy and someone asks, hey, do you need help with anything? I don't know if you can relate, but typically I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm just looking, right? That's what everyone says. And then 2 seconds later, you're like, actually, I can't find what I'm looking for. Can you help me find whatever, right? So people just have their guards up. And again, it takes a little bit of time to lower the guard and add enough value to show that you can be trusted and start to build some rapport. There's a recent example I wanted to share, which sparked the idea for this conversation, for this podcast episode for you. And I was just thinking, I was sitting at the gym like, man, the market's crazy. Inventory is limited. I'm trying to find properties for buyers, not having a whole lot of luck right now because there's just multiple offers, crazy situations going on. And I was just thinking like, I want more listings. What can I do to go get more listings? And I actually ended up emailing an attorney who I've worked with a few times. He sent me a few listings that were like probate, inherited properties, estate sale type properties. And I had sold a few of them successfully. I was on top of it the whole time. We got everything done. I was patient because there was a lot of back and forth and paperwork and court approval needed. So I built the trust and rapport that I can produce the desired result for his clients. And so I actually sent him an email asking if he needed any help with anything. And the email, I'll flash it up on the screen. Literally, the subject line said, need help selling any properties. And then the body of the email said, hey, first name, I hope all is well. I just wanted to see if you need any help getting any property sold for your clients. I have a few listings for sale in Houston/Sugar Land, and I'm servicing my clients out there successfully despite me being physically located in Denver. I'm here to help if you need anything or any comps, which mean comparables. That's when you run numbers and you give an idea of what a property might be worth. And then I threw in 2 links of 2 listings that I actually had with my name next to them to show and prove, again, building trust, adding credibility that, yes, I am doing deals virtually in another state successfully. I think one or both of them were under contract at the time. One of them is already sold and closed. The other one is pending. We're just working through a couple of things that we need for the lender, the title company, and all of that. So the date, I sent him the email on Wednesday, April 27th in the morning. And I didn't hear anything back for a couple of days. No worries. It happens. People get busy. Friday, April 29th, 2 days later, again, I'm going to flash this email up on the screen if you're watching the video. At 10:42 a.m., he said, Chris, yes, I do. I need to sell, blah, blah, blah street in Pasadena, which is a place in Texas. I'd be signing as a temporary administrator pending contest, whatever that means. Could you get me a listing agreement? I understand the property may be in pretty bad shape. I'm going by to change the locks and check it out this afternoon, right? So that was Friday, April 29th at 10:42 a.m. By 1:09 p.m., by that afternoon, he had stopped by the property and he actually sent a video walkthrough of the house to me just so I can get an idea of the condition. And I sent the listing agreement over to him. And now I'm just waiting on the court approval to make sure that we have the green light to list it at that price. So I just want to show you the power of making an ask. Opportunities like this can just pop up. I literally asked him, and 2 days later, he said, yes, I do. He put a property and opportunity in my lap. Another cool thing is that because I was top of mind, he thought about me. He knew I was in real estate again. I reminded him how I can help. He actually called me a few days later about a client of his who had inherited a couple of properties. The father had passed away. The son was the executor of the will and has the signing authority to get these properties sold. And so I typed out my notes for this podcast a couple of weeks ago. I actually already have these properties listed. So at the time of the notes that I was going to put together for you, the notes were saying, I'm pretty sure this is a done deal. It sounds like it's just a matter of sending the listing paperwork over and getting this thing done. And that exactly happened to be the case. I actually assumed the sale, but in my mind, I knew it was a done deal. So actually, this past week, I listed 3 of the properties. 2 of them are lots. One of them is pretty much a lot, but there's 2 houses on it. They're all kind of investor properties. Someone's going to have to be able to do some work to it and do some improvements. And I actually referred out a 12-unit apartment complex to a commercial real estate person that I know. And the referral commission on that, I can get a 25% referral fee is what I typically do. It's like the rule of thumb. Maybe I could have gotten more, but I also want there to be enough meat on the bone for it to be worth his time. But all in all, between these properties and opportunities, there's a potential for up to 21,000-ish in commission for me if we get all of these properties sold at the prices that we think we can get them sold at. And the cool thing is with the referral, especially from a trusted person, like this was his attorney he was working with who referred him over to me. So I assumed the sale because the referral is so warm. You get the lent trust from that person, which in this case was his attorney. The lesson here, I'm not trying to brag or share how cool I am or anything like that. The lesson here is how simple it can be. If you want something, ask, always ask is the lesson. This all happened because I actually sent an email that just asked, need help selling any properties? To which he responded, yes, I do. And afterwards, he sent me the other lead, which had a couple of properties as well. If I had not asked, he may have gone to another real estate agent that he knows. He may have forgotten that I'm in real estate. I talked about this recently, that it's easy for us to think like, why would they forget, especially if we work together a few times, but people are busy. They have their own lives. They have their own priorities. You have to constantly remind them how you can help them, how you can work together, and what you can do for them, right? Everyone's always tuned into WIFM radio. What's in it for me? The worst that someone can say is no, or maybe not reply, as you saw in the emails or as you heard me speak about. I hadn't heard back in 2 days from when I sent the email, but when I did hear back, it was, yes, I do have an opportunity for you. Another lesson here is just don't take things personally. If you get a no, or if you don't get a response, don't take it personally. It is worth following up once or twice and give it some time, because people get busy and things happen. We all have a million messages. It's hard enough to reply to them all in a day. I don't know about you, but I'm finding myself more and more just struggling to stay on top of it all. It may be worth having an assistant. I know a loan officer that is in my network. She literally has her assistant who's in her office take her phone and reply to text messages for her. And if her assistant has any questions or anything, she'll ask her what to send, and she'll contact, people directly. I don't know if that is the method that I would necessarily use, but I know there are tools like CallRail or Follow Up Boss, different CRMs where you can message from the CRM itself. So that may be an option that's a little more flexible and possibly more secure than giving someone your personal cell phone to reply to messages. That is a level of trust that I don't know if I have necessarily in others at the moment. There's a Grant Cardone quote that I want to share with you. I really love it. I have it written up on my whiteboard. I've mentioned it before. Success is my duty, obligation, and responsibility. If you truly, genuinely believe that you can solve a problem for someone, you're doing a disservice to them if you don't follow up with them and help them. So the seller example, the guy who had a couple of properties inherited, I was needing him to take a couple of steps. I guess he hasn't really sold any properties recently or in a while. He wasn't sure how it all works. And I had to call him and tell him exactly the process and remind him, hey, I need you to do A, B, and C, send me this, ship the keys over here. We had to, coordinate the keys and everything. I did mention I'm out of state, so it makes it a little more logistically challenging to have him coordinate and meet up with my boots on the ground people, which AKA is my younger brother right now who got his license in Houston. So I had to take that next step to make sure he knew what he needed to do in order for me to help him and to also get paid a commission. Now, speaking of asks, before I let you go, because it's been a while, I wanted to remind you, just a friendly reminder, I can help you buy or sell real estate anywhere. And I'm really a connector. So if you have real estate needs in a certain market, I can help connect the dots to someone who's credible and super experienced out there. I've made a connection in Mexico recently, a connection in Dubai, in the UAE, Canada, Montana, Seattle. There's multiple places where people are telling me where they're looking to buy or sell or rent, and I can make the connection for you if I'm not able to help you directly myself. And to be completely upfront, the way What's in it for me, right? What's in it for me, WIIFM radio is the way I've heard it, is that I do get paid a referral commission if and when any transactions close at no extra cost to you. That's just my value add, is connecting the dots for you. You have an amazing experience. That real estate agent gets a commission, and I get a portion of that as a referral fee, which is kind of how I've been earning my income and adding value to lives of others at scale. So if you're interested in that, if you do have any real estate needs, just go to chrisbello.com/real estate, and you can schedule a quick time to chat with me, like 10, 15 minutes, talk about your needs, what you need to do, and how to move forward. So which asks are you going to make this week? What's something that's on your mind that you're like, man, I kind of want to ask, but I don't know. I don't want to be annoying. I don't want to be that guy, but you know that deep down, if you ask, you will receive. So remember that that is the case, and maybe take that going forward into your new week. And remember, it never hurts to ask. You'll never get a yes if you don't ask. You can't assume that people just know what you want and how they can help you. You've got to actually ask. That's how the world works, right? You add value. And if you're hesitant to ask, add value first. Remember the jab, 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 right hook. Add value, add value, add value, then make your ask. Because as you open those reciprocity loops, you do so much for others that they're wondering how they can help you in return. Bingo. That's exactly when you make the ask, and you are more likely to receive. So I hope you found this episode valuable. I will catch you on the next one. Thanks so much for your time. And remember, ask and you shall receive.